Does not change as a penalty. Looks like we're ready to go.
Christian, Ridley, and Gardner, the front line for the Capitals. Crom, Trottier, and Kerr for the Islanders. And just 5 seconds after we start, we stop. The starting defense combination, Gord Dineen, number 2, just drifted by your screen, and Conroy, Greg Smith, and Stevens.
There's Coach Terry Simpson, the quiet man, the quiet teacher. I asked him today if he was nervous for tonight's game. He said, well, I don't know if you'd call it nervous. I have a bit of adrenaline, and I want to concentrate very hard on my focus in the first part of the game and not make any mistakes behind the bench. In that sense, I guess I'm a lot like a player tonight.
Dineen drives, and Mason sees it sail by. Crom in, hit hard by Greg Smith. It is Mike Ridley, shoved off by Alan Kerr. Then a good check thrown by Brian Trottier on Christian. So it's 2 thumps, now 3 thumps for the Islanders and 1 for the Capitals. Both teams registering hits early. The puck comes back to Kerr for a drive. He dubbed it. Back it comes for Dineen's drive, and that knocked down by Scott Stevens. Stevens is a big man they count on. He must play well for the Capitals to go well in this contest. On comes Stevens with a big drive, and it ricochets in front. Dineen can't get it, and neither could Gartner. Now it's Gartner down. Feeds in front, but Alan Kerr back up with it. And Kerr drops in. Shift changes are on. 55 seconds gone, first period. On with it comes Kelly Miller. Ridden off the play by Gilbert. It is Duchesne with a shot turned away by Rudy. And Duchesne checked off by Ken Morrow. Duchesne tries to drop it further for Miller, who scoots after it, but Ken Morrow took the hit from Bobby Gould. This is the checking line that yielded over 50 goals in the regular season for Washington. Rod Langway matched up with Larry Murphy. And it is Duchesne spinning. It's tipped further by Miller. Shift change for Washington. A minute and a half gone. First period of play. Icing the call. Glad you've joined us tonight on ESPN. The score of our game. The Capitals nothing. The Islanders nothing.
Score. They played a minute and 32 seconds in the opening period.
Brian Murray asked him today what New York Islander would he like to have the most in his lineup tonight. And without hesitation, Pat LaFontaine was the answer.
He's number 16 for New York. He's there now, hoping to win this face-off. Ken Leiter is 29. He's the defenseman just inside the blue line. There's LaFontaine. He's having a great series.
You know, they're repairing the ice, and we noticed this morning at practice, Bob, they were very late getting the floor off and the ice ready for the workouts. This rink's a strange rink. Watch for these 2 possibilities. 1, the boards are very lively on a shoot-in, and 2, pucks around the glass often take a weird hop and come right out in front of the net.
Giddick is the other defenseman, but he can't stop that rolling puck that got by him. Francis Getty up, forechecking, took his man in on the boards. Stevens comes back for Washington. Cleared it to the line, not out. Grabbed by Hatcher. He skates to center. Hatcher flipped one into the corner. That's Rudy out of the net. He missed it. He has to scamper back in a hurry. Left an open side. Now he has to cover up. Little shaky on that move and behind the net. I don't know, but the puck took a funny hop off the boards and got away from him quickly.
Very unpredictable boards. And this man here, Gould, who scored some big goals for Washington this year, hit it out of the air on a backhand, and Rudy had it, but he didn't know it.
What are you calling in this one, Harry?
I kind of think the Islanders, with the momentum they've got going, and have faced elimination twice and avoided it, will do it a 3rd time. But it'll be a great hockey game.
You know, I was in that Washington dressing room this morning, and you could feel tension in there. They're a little uptight, I sense.
I agree with you. David Coyle and a couple of the players I talked to, all they talked about was how they let the Islanders off the hook. And now they're on the hook.
Is it better in front of a hometown crowd in the 7th game?
You could play this game on the highway between New York and Washington. It makes no difference unless Washington scores a couple early.
Well, you could play it on the highway if they get a couple early, and then they're in business no matter where. Long shot by Trottier, a rising drive caught by Mason. Capitals dump it out. That's Gartner over there. Left it for Stevens. He moves in. Stevens gets set, but he made that move at the blue line. The fans do not like the call, but in fact, Stevens in that move put the winger offside.
Scott Stevens, the rugged, big, strong defenseman for Washington, a +4 in the playoffs, a real workhorse. And Brian Murray was saying everybody talks about how much Langway plays. This guy plays over 30 minutes a night, every night, and he can take it. Every coach in the league would love to have Scott Stevens on their team.
Ridley won the face-off, and the Caps shoot it in. Dineen bumped on the boards. Flatley trying to get a stick on it. Flatley is there, 26, and he finally finds it. Very coolly passes through the middle and up the center. Crom, he didn't expect the pass, and he had to just knock it in. The Caps come back in there. Pass in front. Here's a chance. Centered by Christian, and nobody could make contact. Puck over the glass into the crowd. Close call. No score yet.
These are two big teams. Washington maybe is the biggest team in the league outside of possibly Calgary. So when you see these guys hitting each other, more often than not, it's 200-pounders running into each other, not 185 or 90-pounders. Dave Christian, a member of the big line for Washington, Gartner, Christian, and Ridley, and there's a lot of heat on them to score. With the loss of Alan Howarth, they are a one-line team offensively, and one-line teams don't go very far in the playoffs. It's just too easy to corral.
LaFontaine got the draw. Islanders control. Langway moved up to try to pick it up and couldn't. LaFontaine is swinging in there. He's bumped as he tried to go in. Checked on the play by Blum. It's cleared out of the zone by Bobby Gould. Off the boards, it comes back in front for Gould. Big save by Rudy. Boy, he was sharp to stop that one. Now it's fired in by Kerr. Langway turns from the corner. A soft pass ahead. Down at center ice is Gould again. He's in there. Trying to center it. Taken in on the boards by Janssen. Comes loose again. Back to the line and fired into the corner by Murphy. And the Islanders get it out. No score nearing the 4-minute mark of this first period. Langway is backing up. Now he throws it all the way down the ice. And I don't know, now they waved it off. No icing. Coming to the line is Gilbert out for New York. A high shot going in. And an easy save for Mason. He just covered the angle. Islanders in after it. Getting back there to clear it away with Franciscetti. Rudy touched it in behind the net. Here comes Franciscetti on this side, and he was given a bump. Franciscetti taking it on the boards. Adams tried to center it. Murphy's shot didn't get very far. Gilbert blocked it. Adams again centered it. Washington starting to turn it on a little bit, looking for the first goal of the game. Still scoreless, though. Live on CBC Hockey Night in Canada.
Well, there's been lots of good checks. Watch this one. Now Gould comes to hit LaFontaine, and LaFontaine could hear him coming, and he stuck his hand right in Gould's face, and that's why 23 Gould is upset. Morrow comes in and pulls him off, and Andy Van Helm has been very lenient so far in tonight's game.
Rich Crom dumped it on the boards and got it out of the zone for New York. Stevens shoots it back in. Again, it's dumped high to center ice. Stevens ripped it inside. The Islanders come back to try and get the puck out. Dineen played it on the left side for Crom. Crom is covered on the play by Ridley. Up the center. Long shot in wide of the net. Islanders go in after it. No score in this first period, nearing the 5-minute mark. And the Capitals just clear it. Conroy turns, plays it up on the boards. Stevens will come back, and he'll leave it on the other side for Hatcher. Hatcher got a pass away to Ridley coming in. 3 of them on the play. Ridley dropped it back into the slot area, and a nice glove save by Rudy. And let me tell you, he made that look easy. It wasn't a real hard shot. Christian coming in, knocked to his knees in front, but there was no rebound anyway.
Brian Trottier, 4 goals this series. He now is tied for the 3rd spot in the all-time NHL playoff point race with the great Gordie Howe. This guy does everything. Face-offs, kills penalties, on the power play, plays the big shifts. He's not quite as aggressive as and mean as he used to be, but tonight he'll be one of the better Islander players.
Capitals come out with Bob Gould, 23. Miller on the right side, Duchesne on the left wing, and the veteran Rod Langway playing alongside Larry Murphy. Every man up, no score, first period, 7th game. From the face-off, it trickled in behind the net. Janssen trying to tear. Murphy took the shot. Rudy kicked that away. Makela grabs it for New York. Takes a check on the boards and lost control. Now Langway to Murphy. Murphy has got to get going in this series. He hasn't been the Murphy we've come to know for Washington. Having a little bit of a tough time. But of course that comes from playing in a playoff game against the New York Islanders. The checking comes a little heavier.
You're going to see all kinds of 3-on-3s and 2-on-2s tonight as both these teams stress not getting the forward caught to allow the odd man situation for the opposition through the center zone.
Murphy couldn't control that pass, and it bounced down in front of Mason. Now cleared to center ice. No score coming up to the 7-minute mark of the opening period. LaFontaine trying to go in there. Couldn't find any room. Grabbed by Gould. Bob Gould turns around in his own zone and had to drop it to Murphy. Murphy has to hurry that backhand pass. It gets down inside the line. Kastelic is 29, and he couldn't make a play. Out the center, and a long shot in by Sutter. A rebound. There he caught the far corner. Henry went after it for New York. Henry again. Dropped it back to the line. It comes out. Conroy for the Islanders. Dumped it in. 7 minutes gone in the opening period. Scoreless game here in number 7. The winner to go on to beat Philadelphia. Capitals changing. Kastelic was in there. But the Islanders get it out across the line. The play ahead to Basson. He couldn't control the pass. Coming back in there, Adams shoots it up behind the net. Rudy out. Cleared by Denis, who was hit hard. He's starting to get physical. Franciscetti centered it. A penalty coming up against New York. Conroy, I think, will go. Here's the call. It's the first penalty of the game, and it goes to the Islanders.
Steve Conroy taking a scoring opportunity away from Washington by hooking the man down in front of the net. Take a look in front of the net, 33 right here. He hooks him and trips him, gets him out of the way, and it's going to cost him 2 minutes.
Ridley with Gartner and Christian. Stevens will be on the ice. Murphy is the other man. Power play for Washington, not great. The first shot is off the goal. 2 for 34. Not great, it's desperate. Christian in the corner, can't make a play. Ridley digs it out along the boards. Murphy is at the blue line, had to knock down a high pass. Murphy goes to the other side, but it did come out over the line, and they're offside.
Well, John McCauley, the supervisor of officials, sent 3 veterans, very competent, experienced veterans, to handle this game. And there was a sign of a tough call that was properly made by John D'Amico. Larry Murphy's had a great season. I see the cut in John's head has healed a little bit. It certainly has not affected his eyesight.
He was sharp on that call, no question. On this power play, Murphy had to reach up high to knock down a pass. Now Adams feeds it over on the far side. Murphy comes in for Washington on this power play. Still no score in this first period. Adams couldn't dig it out. Islanders trying to clear it. Stevens over, centering it. And a very quick hand. Rudy just reached up. And brother, he had to be quick.
Well, Adams was standing off to the net, number 22, and he was going to bat it in out of the air. But it never got over far enough, and he hit Rudy under the arm. Now watch Adams on the left part of your screen. See that puck bounces? It's going right over to Adams. Now he swings and hits Rudy. Here's another look at it. There it is right there from behind the net. I don't know whether Adams is trying to hit the puck or Rudy or both.
Rudy turned around and had a look at just who was trying to whack at him. But Rudy made a smart move by moving out to glove it. It was kind of fluttering through the air right in the crease area.
Well, coming into this series, Kelly Rudy had a 1-5 record in the playoffs with a goals against average of 2.09. Can you imagine how frustrating that must be to allow just over 2 goals a game and only win 1 out of 6? But he's remedied that situation by winning 3 this series, and from all reports, he's been marvelous.
A minute and 17 seconds left in the penalty to Conroy of New York.
Andy Van Hellemon's whistle broke, and he went and got someone to run in the referee's room and get him a new whistle. The ball perhaps blew up in the middle of his whistle.
Washington power play. No score, first period. Pavanka is 20 there, tying up Janssen. Martin got loose in the corner, trying to get it back to the line to Murphy. It comes to Pavanka. He gets it back to Murphy. Murphy to the other side. Stevens shot. That's blocked in front of the net. Murphy now winding up to Pavanka. Pavanka gets ready, drives it. Right at Rudy. The rebound is there and grabbed by Crom, and he'll get rid of it. And then he was hit over there and hit hard.
Gordy Dineen saved a goal by taking the man out in front of the net as the puck was coming across.
Capitals come back in there. Right in front of the net, and Rudy again was sensational on a good chance for Pavanka. That's a big save, and the best of the game so far. 25 seconds left in the penalty to New York. No score, first period. Capitals power play. Stymied so far. They're back in there, led by Ridley. Rudy tipped it away. It's cleared to the line. Langway stopped it there, centered it. Here's a chance for Christian. I can't believe this goaltender in this first period. Rudy seems to know where everybody is going to be, and Christian was in the slot. What a perfect pass, and Rudy moved and made a save.
Well, Brian Murray was telling me Christian's had about 7 of these point-blank opportunities and has yet to score on it. You can see that Kelly Rudy catches it in there between his right elbow and his body. Here's a look at it as Rudy sees it.
See him move quickly when he saw the pass go.
Well, Bob, any goaltender that can knock Billy Smith out of the playoff lineup has to be pretty good.
He has been sensational. He's played in all the games for New York. Playoffs sometimes have a habit of doing that. Showing you a goaltender that you thought maybe was number 2, possibly number 1. He's number 1 now. No score, nearing the halfway mark of the opening period. Now it's Duchesne coming in. Rudy out of the net, stopping it for Morrow. Morrow nearly ran into Duchesne coming in on the other side. Kelly Miller went after it with Bobby Gould back in the net. Gould left it for Duchesne. He has a little problem there, not much room, gets it back to Hatcher. Hatcher's weak shot off the boards. It bounces to the corner and Duchesne digs it out. Duchesne keeping the pressure on for Washington. Duchesne now is covered. Carried in on the boards by Leiter. Still fighting for it, trying to get it loose. He does, pretty good job. Duchesne, and he's stopped by Rudy. Miller's shot is off the net. I'll tell you, if there's one way to frustrate a team, it's to throw a hot goalie in there. And the Islanders have one tonight over the first 10 and a half minutes in Kelly Rudy. Hockey Night in Canada returns in a moment. At the Capitol Center in Landover, Maryland, I'm Bob Cole with Harry Neal, Ron McLean, and Don Cherry. Game 7 of this series, and welcome all of you across Canada to Hockey Night in Canada's coverage of this 7th game.
Well, I was mentioning before about Van Hellemon changing the whistle, and you wonder why they don't carry a whistle in their pockets in case that happens. But you certainly wouldn't if you would ever take one of the spills we see them take and land right on your whistle.
Islanders shoot it down the ice. Mason stepping out. 9:20 left in the period. No score, but the Capitals have been pressuring the Islanders. Kelly Rudy has stopped Washington. He's going to have to do it again here as they're coming in. Francescotti breaking for the net. He lost control of it. Islanders come back to recover, and this is Diddick leading the attack to Crom at center. Crom coming in. Left wing pass is tapped away, and Flatley couldn't pick it up. Boyd given a bump. Here's Boyd again. Number 8 carries to center, shoots a high one in. Mason fired it off to the corner. It's called. Live on CBC, the Stanley Cup playoffs. Story of the first 11 minutes and 16 seconds of this hockey game is there. Rudy handling 9 shots, many quality shots, and Mason has had a quiet time so far. Maybe that's the plan of the Islanders. Get back and cover up if you can.
Of the 9 shots, Rudy's had to stop 5 that were called excellent goal-scoring opportunities, and Mason hasn't had one of those yet.
Kastelik was given a bump as he tried to come out. Langway went in there, muscling his man on the boards. Pass hitting the line. Gilbert's stick is flicked away by Kastelik. Here's Kastelik. Rudy stopped that. He tried to put it back into play. Sticks go high. And they're all getting in on the act.
Well, Rudy's really sharp. The guy shot a changeup at him and he still stopped it. And if you stand in front of that net tonight, you better hold your breath because someone's going to knock you flying, and that's what started this little skirmish.
Well, Kastelik was given a bump, and a hard check it was, too, inside the Washington blue line. And he replied in kind at center ice by flicking a stick away as you look at that last flurry.
Now, there's the changeup we're talking about. Kastelik did not get good wood on it, but sometimes those fool the goaltenders, and you can see when you come around that Islander net, you're going to pay for it. One thing Rudy hasn't had to do tonight, Bob, is make a second save. And any goal, you'll tell you, that makes life much more pleasant.
Rudy has been sharp on the first saves, I'll tell you. Boy, he's been knocking them down, clearing them himself, covering up, freezing the puck.
Terry Simpson, the competent young coach of the New York Islanders, was saying that he's absolutely thrilled at the way his younger players have responded to the loss of Bossy, Trottier, and Sutter. He thinks this team is on the verge of becoming a real good hockey team, thanks to the nice scouting that the Islander scouts have done in bringing him these good young players that have shown up so well in this series so far.
Gould, number 23, winning the face-off, hooking into the corner, given a bump by Conroy. LaFontaine was pushed on the boards by Duchesne. But the Islanders get it out into the center ice zone. Flip back in. Conroy turns back to the net. Duchesne chased him, but the pass got off to the right side, and the Islanders shoot it in. Here comes Makela. Makela had his stick lifted. Islanders go up after it, and they keep it inside the line. A chance here. That hard shot by Dineen is blocked by Mason. His toughest save of the first period. 7:40 remaining in this opening period, and still no score. 7th game of the series. Winner in, loser out. Finish for the season. Hard pill to swallow, but that's it. Offside call. Wouldn't take much to get something going the way they've been hitting over the last 5 or 6 minutes. This comes with playoffs and a 7th game. Hockey night in Canada, a Stanley Cup tradition. Coming up in our first intermission, Craig Laughlin will be along to talk with Ron McLean, and Don Cherry is here with his coach's corner. And we'll get you caught up on what's happened so far in the playoffs. Just in case you don't know.
Not many hockey fans across Canada don't know who's left alive in the National Hockey League playoffs.
Islanders go up after the Capitals now. It's been all Washington so far in this first period. Flatley turning around and centering it. Bob Mason knocked it away with a stick. Capitals trying to organize inside their own line. It's obvious now that the Islanders are trying to do some forechecking, maybe get somebody to cough one up, make a mistake in there. They haven't had much offense in this first period.
Well, Ridley coming over in the Carpenter trade from the Rangers really solved a big problem for Brian Murray at center ice. And Brian said that the arrival of Ridley allowed him to go with two lines. That's when Howarth was healthy, and not put all the pressure of being the #1 center on Pavanka, the young Czechoslovakian. And Ridley, as we know, has done a nice job since joining the Capitals. And I think you'd have to give David Poile an edge in that trade, at least so far.
Martin comes out to take over at center ice for Washington. Greg Adams on the far side, hoping to get out, and he will. Adams comes to center. Franciscetti on the other wing, and he's up after the puck behind the net, but Rudy got rid of it in a hurry. It's centered by Blum. Here comes Langway. Langway's shot is blocked. Langway stopped it, and he hooked it back to center ice to Blum. Blum turns. Being watched by Henry. Flipped back in by Pavanka. Up again for Washington near center. Pavanka left it there. Adams carried on, and it's grabbed by Johnson. Johnson's pass to the line. Out comes Sutter. And the play is called. One of the Islanders in behind the play has been injured, and we've got something going up near the penalty box area. Johnson went after somebody. That is Morrow, who is down inside the Islanders' blue line.
When Morrow stood up on young Pavanka, Pavanka put a stick up and cross-checked Morrow right across the face. And that's what Thomas Johnson was mad at. He, being Morrow's partner, saw it. And Ken Morrow and Steve Conrad have been the two top Islander defensemen in the opinion of Bill Torrey in this series. Now watch 20, put a stick right up and cross-check Morrow right across the face there. Now he knew he was going to get hit, and his theory was, you can hit me if you want, but you're going to have to eat a lumber before you get there.
Morrow goes over to talk to Pavanka. They seem to be friends again. No penalties called.
Friends, he was telling him what he was going to do to him the next time he came down. And Pavanka, who's been a pretty good rookie for Washington, and a European, is going to be a lot better his second year than his first once he gets the hang of this league, if he ever is going to be any good, and I think this kid is. But he better grow a little if he's going to cross-check guys like Morrow in the face.
Basson at center got the draw, and Leiter shoots it in. Mason stops it. Here's Langway. He got a pass away to the line, and out to center comes Martin. Played it in on the right side. Kostelic going in. Tried from a difficult angle, and Rudy just covered up, hanging on to the post. This is Henry for New York. Henry gave it away. Kostelic turns, shoots it in, and Sutter will clear to the line, not out. Capitals pressuring again. Kostelic came close with a backhander, spinning away from the net. Hatcher stops one. Fired back in by Washington. No score with 5.5 minutes left in the period. Up for Dinnick. Fired it in there. Mason out of the net. Nearly got trapped back there by LaFontaine. Washington starting out to center ice. Ridley plays it in. Rudy pretty clever getting back there to stop it. Came flying off the boards in the corner. LaFontaine coming in for New York. He was hit hard and sent flying. A good hit by Stevens. Here's Hatcher going in. Shoots. And Rudy had the angle covered. Seems he has every angle covered tonight. So far, no score.
Thanks to our good friends.
Night in Canada and the Stanley Cup playoffs. Our division coverage begins Monday. Viewers in Quebec will see the Nordiques at the Forum in Montreal to play the Canadiens. Viewers in Western Canada will see Tuesday Winnipeg at Edmonton to meet the Oilers. And viewers in Ontario and the Atlantic provinces will see Toronto at Detroit, also Tuesday.
A sellout here tonight of over 18,000 at the Capitol Center. They all have the white spirit towels, they're calling them. About everybody has one. It's like it's snowing when they're standing up. That's Morrow. Shoots a high one over the boards at the Islanders bench. Play called. Morrow a little upset on this next shift. And now Kelly Miller took a swing at Kerr.
Here's Brent Sutter, a fine Islander forward who's out with a groin injury. We keep seeing those Sutters behind the bench. I'm sure I'm speaking for all hockey fans across Canada. We'd much rather see them on the ice.
Only people who do not want to see a Sutter on the ice is the opposition. There's something. Of course, you've heard all that before.
There is a rule saying that anyone who isn't on the coaching staff can't be on the bench, but in the playoffs, if you ask permission from the league, they allow you to put a significant player or a player of significant stature back there, and we see a lot of teams doing it. I think it helps keep the player who's frustrated about not playing kind of in the game.
Gartner trying to get loose in front of the goal. He tied up Trottier, who fell. Ridley moved on the puck quickly and given a bump by Kerr on the boards. Washington still pressing. It comes back to Murphy. Murphy's shot misses the goal. Now Trottier. He jumps on it. Played it up to center ice. Crom is checked by Murphy. Morrow turns, gets across center, lifts a high one in. They have 4 minutes left in period number 1, and no score in the game. Murphy coming to center, drilled it in wide of the goal. Gartner was upended. No penalty called. Somebody got away with it. Gartner took a real spill.
Well, that was the pre-designed play by the Washington team. They shoot it in from the other side of the red line, and they think Gartner can beat, and you can see him at the right of your screen, he can beat the 2 defensemen to the puck, and he would have there if he hadn't been tripped, and you can see that nice rebound off the boards. Watch how far the puck comes out when it's shot in, and there, right in front of the net, about 35 feet out, Gartner is tripped. I don't know whether he would have been in a good scoring position, but he would have got the puck. Great speed, Mike Gartner. Great hockey player who had a terrible start, but has rescued this season with a great second half.
Mason got to draw back. Moving up on the play is Diddick. Diddick couldn't center it. He was carried in on the boards by Adams. It's kept in at the blue line with 3:40 to play in the period. Sutter centered it. Oh, and a save by Mason. Basson was in front of the net, and that was nearly the first goal of the game. Mason made his best save right there. Capitals Adams to center. Couldn't get the pass across to Blum. Now Stevens moves up, bounces one in wide of the net. Here comes Francis-Sketty. But it's knocked away from him easily and cleared out to center ice by Basson. Stevens one-hands it over on this side for Smith. Greg Smith gets it across center. Francis-Sketty hammers it in. Gadin turns. Tried to clear it out and couldn't. He falls on it. Pamanka is all over him. And they get a whistle with 2:57 left in period number 1. No score in this 7th game.
Well, Washington has clearly had the edge, but this fellow, Bob Mason, had to make a great save on Basson about 30 seconds ago. He hasn't been nearly as busy as his counterpart, Rudy, has. But watch this stop on Basson, number 28, who's all alone in front of the net. And that puck was rolling, and he didn't get all of it. Now watch this, Basson at 170 versus Langway at 215. Basson's a feisty, tough little forward who's done an excellent job for the Islanders, killing penalties, playing on the checking line. And Terry Simpson told me today that he leads the New York Islander players in takeouts in the first 6 games of this series.
Kelly Miller, Gould, and Duchesne for Washington, right to left. Greg Smith, the defenseman, playing alongside Scott Stevens. LaFontaine for New York, winning the draw, and it comes back to Janssen. And the Islanders just dump it out, and down the ice comes to Mason. 2:45 left in the period. Makela went in after it. He got it back, and it's right onto Miller's stick. Kelly Miller comes out. He has Duchesne on his right. Miller going in, trying to beat Morrow and can't do it. Morrow played the man, held the puck there for a moment. Now Duchesne went in. Morrow got it by him. Duchesne again, trying to center it. Against LaFontaine, he comes in front, shoots. Missed on the short side. He gets it again back there, but Rudy reached back and grabbed the puck, but Duchesne showing some pretty good stuff, digging it out and getting a shot away.
Well, Rudy saved the Islanders completely in Game 5 in the first period, and I think you can see what one of the Washington Capitals' major problems is. They cannot score goals at a good percentage on good scoring chances, and that's why they're so upset with the loss of Gustafsson. Here's Billy Smith. I'm sure he doesn't like sitting on the bench, but you know, pride will go down, but you have to swallow awful hard, and you can bet he's doing that right now.
He's been in this situation before, and he knows how Rudy feels, and he also knows that Rudy is playing great hockey, so he can't feel too badly. Well, the Islanders getting up to a 7th game with the Washington Capitals, and with the likes of Potvin, Bossy, and Sutter, and others out, you wonder how they got here. And I guess here's another reason: young Flatley.
Guys like Flatley have gotten them here. He's been hurt twice this year. I'd like to see this young guy play a whole year without having one of those knee injuries that he always seems to get. I think he'd score 30 goals. He hasn't got a lot of speed, but he's very strong along the boards. He's got a fair set of hands and can score. It was a nice draft choice out of the University of Wisconsin for the Islanders.
Ridley, Franceschetti remains on to the right side. And Langway hits Ridley with the pass up near center. Trying to shoot it in. And it's called again. We're down to 1:56 left in this opening period. And the shots at this point are 12-5 for Washington.
I know I've said this before, but Rod Langway probably sweats more than any other player in the league. He goes through 6 pair of gloves in a game. They get so wet, and he's going to see lots of action tonight. You only have to watch him for a little while to realize he was a pretty good linebacker at the University of New Hampshire in his college days.
Christian on the left side for the Caps, trying to knock it up over the New York line. Gets it across the line, but Conroy comes back to center. Shoots along one end. Franceschetti was upended near center by Crom. Crom gets over it in front of the net. Didn't get a pass there, so he swings around again. Now he got back in front and couldn't control it. Christian gets it out to center. Trottier back there, and it's cleared away by Denis. There's Trottier. Grabbed by Crom, and Trottier up there with him. And Langway really nailed Crom. Rich Crom was hit hard by Big Langway. In for Gardner. Gardner shoots. Rudy stopped it. Diddick takes it. Dumped it out to center. And it rolls right down inside the Washington line. We have 1 minute remaining in the period. No score. Gardner turning around, and up to center is Stevens. Stevens faked the shot. It's center to Gardner. Adams up trailing the play. Adams centered it. Gardner tipped it. They score! Well, hard work and perseverance paid off for Gardner. The second effort in front of Rudy. I thought the goaltender had it, but Gardner stayed with it and knocked it in. 1-0 Capitals.
Well, Rudy thought he had it too, and Diddick, who knocked Gardner flying, and as Gardner was going down, he puts it in on the backhand. Now watch 11 in front of the net with 29, and as he's going down, he gets a stick on it and puts it in. There is 11. Diddick takes him out right here. Can't take a guy out much better than that, but the puck just sat there, and Gardner knocked it into the net, and you're absolutely right. That was anything but a finesse goal. He had to take a pounding to get that one.
19-12, the time of the first goal of the game. Gardner from Adams and Stevens.
Scott Stevens at 19-12.
Capitals do not let up. Gould is coming in now. Gould with Miller over in front of the net. Gould trying to get loose and can't get loose. Kerr will clear it out to Makela. Up to center and moving in for New York. Back to LaFontaine. His high shot just misses. Got the rebound. Makela trying to dump it in front with 15 seconds left in the period. And Kelly Miller just rolled it up to center ice. In behind the play, the referee, Andy Van Hellemond, has called the play, and I think they're going to be penalties with only 9 seconds remaining in this first period, and the Capitals have taken a 1-0 lead.
Well, they deserve to be ahead on their chances. There have been a lot of thundering body checks given by each team here, and I don't know whether Mike Keenan, the crafty coach of the Philadelphia Flyers, is watching this on TV from Philadelphia, or he's here. But he's enjoying these hits more than anybody because he gets the survivor Monday night.
Bob Gould of Washington and Alan Kerr of New York have been given penalties here at 1951.
Elbowing. Number 23, Bob Gould of the Capitals, 2 minutes for holding. Time of the penalties, 1951.
Kerr for elbowing, Gould for holding, with only 9 seconds left in the period. John Blum shooting it in for Washington. Over on the far side, it'll be cleared out, entering the period with the shots 15-5 for the Washington Capitals.
Well, 15-5 in shots, 1-0 in goals. A well-deserved lead for the Capitals.
Gartner got the goal, and the score at the end of the first period. Here in Game 7, Washington Capitals 1 and the New York Islanders no score.
If it means anything, it might mean it in Game 7, but in this series, the team that's led after 1 period has always gone on to win the game. Mike Gartner's goal makes it 1-0 Capitals at the end of 1 period of play. Clearly a concern for the Caps throughout this series has been a lack of goal scoring, but the Isles could say the same thing. One player who's provided the Caps with goals through the course of the last 4 seasons is out of the lineup tonight, Craig Laughlin, who had 30 a year ago. First of all, tell me about the injury.
Well, it was the first game in the first period, and it was pretty upsetting. I just tried to hit Cantilever behind the net. My foot got caught in the ice, and I hit a rut, and I tried to pull away, and it tore my knee up.
Is the ice bad here this time of year?
Yeah, it is. It's so hot in this building. It's so hot outside that this building's ice has been known to be pretty poor, but we're used to it now.
Now, I see you with a cane, so I'm assuming you mightn't be back for a while, but what is the prognosis?
Well, like most teams do in the playoffs, I have no comment towards injuries. I might surprise someone next series and probably be in the lineup. Never know.
What do you see here tonight, Craig? Tell me about the game.
I see our team going out and playing the game plan that Brian Murray had set up for us. A lot of hard forechecking, which we didn't do in the games that we've lost to the Islanders, getting on their defense quickly, throwing the puck hard around the boards, and getting goals like we get against Mike Gartner got at the end of the period. I mean, we aren't going to get fancy goals. In playoffs, none of the goals are fancy, and that's the way we've got to play.
You and Howarth are a big point in the production for this team. With you out of the lineup, is this a one-line team?
No, I don't think so. I think since we've got Mike Ridley and Kelly Miller in that checking line, I think the checking line down the stretch, they're the guys that are going to get you the big goals in the playoffs. I don't think the Mike Gartners, the Ridleys, the Christians, it always seems to be in Stanley Cup play that the other guys get the goals. The Eddie Kosteleks who's playing tonight, the Lou Franceschettis, those guys are going to get the goals that we need to win.
Many viewers mightn't be all that familiar with Bob Mason. Tell me about this goaltender versus Pete Peters, and then why you think maybe he got the call this evening.
Well, the first thing is that Bob Mason plays a little bit different than Pete. Pete really challenges the players when they come in on him. Bob Mason sits in his net and he's very quick. Pete usually just plays the angles. And the reason why he's playing tonight, I think, is because he played great in Long Island. They only scored 1 goal against him in the 2 games that we played up there, and he's just been playing great, so you got to go with a guy like that.
Are you worried about having to play Philadelphia after a rigorous series against the Isles, should you win?
I don't think so. I think the 7 games that we played are going to get us more in tune for the Stanley Cup playoffs, and I'm glad we play in 7, and hopefully we'll play well against Flyers if we get there.
Nicely said, Craig. Good luck. I hope you're back in the lineup soon.
Thank you very much.
Craig Laughlin of the Washington Capitals. He's happy because his team leads 1-0 at the end of 1. We'll return with Don Cherry in the Coach's Corner. Hockey Night in Canada and the Stanley Cup playoffs. The tradition continues.
Coach's Corner with Don Cherry. Brought to you by Tremco, makers of Tremclad, Canada's #1 rust paint.
1-0 Washington at the end of one. Craig Laughlin likes what he sees. What do you see?
Well, I'll tell you, Washington cannot play any better than that. That's the best they played all year. Brian Murray's over there dying 1,000 deaths. When you play like that and you come out almost nothing, 1-0, you're really afraid. It looks like the Islanders, you're sitting back, dependent on Rudy, and waiting for a break.
Somebody said there was no tomorrow for Ken Morrow, I think 2 years ago, but he looks to be back.
Let me tell you something. This guy, Ken Morrow, is skating better now than he did 6 years ago. I don't know what happened, but he is playing. They talk about Scott Stevens playing a lot in Langley. This guy's got to be playing 40 minutes. But I want to get a little beef off here. And I saw that Pavanka, is that how you say it, Pavanka, with a shield, high stick a guy that had a stick down. All he was doing is body checking him. If these guys that wear the visors, and I'm not against visors, if they have as much care for other people's eyes as they seem to have for their own, we'd be a lot better off. They get awful brave when they get... Guy gets awful brave when he has a visor on.
Well, you can't generalize and say there's intent, but it is true that many feel because they wear them, they're less likely to think about a stick up in the air. What about Brian Murray? You read in the papers here, and we've heard over the last 24 hours, people say if the Caps were to lose this series, Brian Murray is done.
Well, the same guys a month ago was saying he was coach of the year. He stuck with his team halfway through the season. They were absolutely terrible. He kept going with them. A month ago, he was supposed to be coach of the year, and now he's supposed to be gone. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous the way they hire and fire coaches.
Now, Kelly Hrudey has been something else for the New York Islanders. What do you say about him, other than he seems to like Billy Smith's technique?
You know, I had to laugh. Of all the referees to pull that feint and fill, as we call it, Billy Smith routine, of all the guys to do it against is Andy Von Hellemond, because Andy Von Hellemond was the guy that gave, I think it was Anderson for the Oilers, the 5-minute major for when he fainted that time. Bad guy to try it against Von Hellemond.
He did it 1 year, and then he changed his mind. And Kelly Hrudey, Harry mentioned this, he had a 2.09 goals against average going in. He said, it's great to have goaltending, but you need to have goal scorers. If the Islanders come back, you think they'll have one of their best for Philadelphia?
Well, Philadelphia, like the Oilers, are sitting home, like you said, waiting. Mike Keenan is here, by the way. He's a funny guy. They give him a press pass, no way. He went and bought 2 tickets. He's sitting with his assistant coach in the stands, so nobody will bother him. Smart guy.
Is he wearing white?
I don't know whether he's wearing white. No, I think he's wearing blue. I think he'd like to have the blue.
What about Mike Bossy?
Well, Mike Bossy, I was talking to him before the game, and sad thing there, he sat out the 5 games to get his back better. He gets his back and was feeling pretty good, he said. He gets out there and bangs up his knee. But he tells me if they win this game tonight, he will be back in the next series, and let me tell you something, they needed some goal scoring.
What does Terry Simpson say when his club's down after 1 and clearly outplayed?
Well, you know what I would say to him? Hey, guys, we had a rotten period. Rudy held us in there. We're only down 1-0. We got a chance. We got them right where we want them. He's laughing right now. He's the guy that's got to pep these guys and get them up there. It's sad to see the Sutters behind that bench. Let me tell you, folks, we see them all over the league hurt. And the reason they're hurt, and I've said it before, is because they play the game the way it should be played.
Nothing else is certain. One thing is, if you should come to Washington, D.C. on the Easter long weekend, you're bound to see cherry blossom, and that's the case in this edition of the Coach's Corner.
Coach's Corner with Don Cherry has been brought to you by Tremco, makers of Valspar Superthane and a complete line of wood care products.
Still raining. 14 days! To 1912, that's the margin, 1-0 at the end of 1. Coming up on Hockey Night in Canada, Monday night, viewers in Quebec will see the division final in the Adams. It's the Nordique at Montreal Canadiens at 7:30 Eastern. That's for viewers in Quebec. On Tuesday night, viewers in Western Canada will see Game 1 from Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton. The Oilers and the Jets starts at 7:30 Mountain Daylight Time. That's Manitoba West. And then for viewers in Ontario and the Atlantic provinces, Tuesday night, it's the Toronto Maple Leafs at Detroit. Game 1 of the Norris Finals at 8 o'clock Eastern. Live on CBC. This is Hockey Night in Canada and the Stanley Cup playoffs.
The Capitals lead the New York Islanders after a very important first period and quite an important 7th game of this series. The goal was scored by Gartner from Adams and Stevens at 1912. And it was a fine effort by Gartner all the way.
Absolutely, and we were talking about Mike Keenan. He dropped in to say hello, and I asked him what kind of shape his team was in, and he said that they have lost Poulin with broken ribs, Craven with a broken foot, Ron Sutter is still out. They're down to 2 centers, and he's going to call on the Hershey Bears to help him out in Monday night's game.
Penalties handed out in the dying seconds of the first period, of course. Gould and Kerr went off in 1951.
Well, I don't think the Islanders, Bob, should try another period giving up as many opportunities as they gave up that period. You can get away with that for a while, but not all night.
Islanders start this third period by rolling the puck up over the Washington line, and very quickly, Mike Ridley gets it back the other way. Rudy out of the net, being careful in there. It's grabbed by Christian, who centered it. Christian again went after it. Crom takes it in front of his own goal. Up to Flatley. Look out! Stevens has jarred him, and his lights went out, I'm sure. Flatley has gone, and here's a breakaway. Gardner in all alone. Ridley! Oh, what a save by Rudy. Scott Stevens has to be one of the hardest hitters in the National Hockey League, and folks, you saw one of the hardest hits in the playoffs. I haven't seen all the games, but I don't know how many hits were registered. None was harder than that one. Down the ice it goes. Rudy, who has already been called upon to make one big stop. Ridley was in there all alone. And stop it he did. Here's Langway back to the net, 1-0. His team on top. Martin shoveled a pass away. Morrow a very light hit on Miller. Duchesne went in after it against McElwain. Comes up with it, he centered it. Shot deflected, and the goaltender, Rudy, made a save again. Murphy keeping it in. Into the side of the net. More pressure now by the Capitals. Morrow in after Duchesne. Coming in to help is Miller. LaFontaine is there, trying to clear it away. LaFontaine trying to tie up his man. Duchesne got loose, centered it. The goaltender, Rudy, reaching out and knocking to center ice. 2 minutes gone in the second. Langway rolled it back in there. 1-0 Washington on a first period goal. Puck cleared down the ice. Gonna be icing against New York. From Washington.
Never felt an earthquake. There it is. 8.7 on the Richter scale. I don't know how Flatley got up, and here's the breakaway. Gardner throws it across, and what a save Rudy makes on Ridley.
Capitals are in there again. Pavanka coming into the corner, trying to dig it out. Around the net is Basson. Basson lost it in front of his own goal. Pavanka was going the other way, though. Now he's upended. Here's Sutter starting out for New York. A rink-wide pass. Goes in on the wing to Gilbert. He is stopped. Hatcher took him out of the play. Sutter wrapped it back in there again. Mason reaching back to stop it for Stevens. He sidestepped. A check thrown by Sutter. And two Capitals race in. Franciscetti to Adams. Adams looking back. Decides he better go to the net. Rebound. Knocked away by Rudy. It's been all Washington Capitals in this seventh game. They have just the one goal, though. That's because the Islanders have the hot goaltending in Kelly Rudy. Hatcher back there for Capitals. Stevens, the other defenseman on the other side. It's knifed out of the zone and down the ice, and Conroy will take over. Being watched by Jensen. Fired in, and Hatcher back first, and icing called against the New York Islanders. Live on CBC Hockey Night in Canada. Flatley, who had his bell rung earlier on a solid check from Scott Stevens, is back out there.
He deserves the Purple Heart for that.
I don't know how they do it.
You know, the team that's led after the first period has won all 6 games in this series.
There's Langway's shot, deflected in front. Rudy was out of the net. That one might have trickled off the goalpost. Up for New York. Cleared in. Mason dumped it to the side of the net. Capitals start again. Broken up at the line, though. It's chopped in there. And play called once more.
Andy Van Hellemond has called a double penalty here. Cross-checking to Blum and high-sticking to Boyd.
It's 1-0. Capitals lead.
55.
Both penalties coincidental, so no one will be shorthanded. Cross-checking by this fellow, Blum. Boyd, who didn't like the cross-check, came down with his stick on Blum, and he gets it for high stick.
From the face-off, right away a shot, and a nice save by Mason. As Randy Wood uncorked one from just inside the line. Fontaine is stopped. Puck cleared up by New York. Langway takes it. And he gets away from Wood going around the net. Langway tried to lug it out and decides he better roll it ahead, and he did. Capitals shoot it in. Duchesne after it. Gould up on the play and going to the front of the net. Stopped up the line, and here's his shot. Knocked away by Rudy. Stevens moving up, cutting in. Didn't shoot it. Now it's centered and fired to the line. Capitals keep pressing the New York Islanders. They're leading 1-0. Now Kerr is nailed by Stevens. That's about 5 solid hits by Stevens in this hockey game. And they played just 5 minutes of the second period. Boy, when he hits you, you are hit. Stevens pass to Adams. Adams checked off the puck. Now Stevens again. Across center, moving in. Drives it. Nice glove save by Rudy. Johnson around the net. Played it out to Sutter, coming down, and Stevens was there. I think they're kind of moving away from Stevens now, and they see him out there. Solid checks by Scott Stevens in his hockey game.
Well, if you come through the center zone looking at the puck, you're going to get a face full of white shirt. And Stevens has been the dominant physical player in this game.
This program is copyright and is strictly for the private use of our audience. Any reproduction, retransmission, distribution, or exhibition, in whole or in part, without the express written consent of the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, is strictly prohibited.
In case you missed hearing the first one, watch the second one here. A stand-up, chest-to-chest pounding. Stevens hit Alan Kerr, who gave up about 25 pounds on the check, and Kerr didn't go down. But you don't have to go down. It's the sudden stop that stings.
Matter of fact, sometimes when they hit like that and they don't go down, it's worse.
That's right. You don't slide along the ice and take cushion part of the blow. I wouldn't want to get hit either way by Mr. Stevens.
Up or down. Solid. Lately, I don't think he missed his shift. He was back out. Wasn't out for long. 1-0, Washington. Dangerous pass, but they get it to the line and barely get it out. It's offside anyway. Jensen was nearly open to break in.
Leiter's been a real nice addition to the Islanders, a Michigan State graduate. He played 5 years in the Islander minor system and finally made the team this year and has done a nice job, especially with the number of injuries the Islander defensemen have had.
Sutter drops it back for New York. Islanders unable to get much offense going at all. That's Dave Jensen dumping it back in. Rudy cleared it to the corner. Up the line and stopped by Hatcher coming in. Hatcher gets set. Shoots. Knocked down by Rudy. Scrambled forward and Sutter was there. Hatcher again at the blue line, but offside is called. Very close. Gilbert is dumped. Kastelic ran into Gilbert and sent him flying. Live on CBC, the Stanley Cup playoffs. Minor penalties handed out after this great rush.
Great chance here by Hatcher. He's got more Islanders lying down on one rush here than I've seen all night. Look at the opportunity. They're kicking it. They're trying to hit it. And if you stand in front of the net trying to get that puck, you know you're going down. This young second-year veteran who could play junior this year, developing into a pretty good defenseman. Kostelic gets one of the penalties, and he's a tough customer.
That's Smith shooting it in for New York, or rather Washington. New York starts back on the other side. Coming in, Makala couldn't center it. He's bumped on the boards and didn't get too far anyway. Gartner, a pass across center. In on that wing was Ridley, and he fell. Again, the Capitals. Smith shoots one up behind Rudy. Dineen went back. Islanders unable to get much going. Three of them come in on this rush. Here comes Trottier. Backhands a pass in front. And Stevens takes over for Washington. Laid it out on the wing to Christian. Up to center ice, Christian shoots it as he crossed center. The goaltender stopped it back there. Crom around the net. Couldn't get the clearing pass out. Apparently, they call it anyway at the blue line with 12:53 remaining in the second period in this seventh game. And Landover, Maryland, 1-0. The Capitals on top of the Islanders.
Well, the Islanders are being outshot 22-6, and the only goal came off the stick of this fellow number 11, Mike Gartner. And they're badly outplaying New York, but the scoreboard is only 1-0, and that's the only stat that's going to count when this game ends. And it's very discouraging to have dominated the way Washington has and not have a comfortable lead.
That only goal so far came at 19:12 of the opening period. Adams and Stevens assisted on the goal scored by Gartner. Boyd whips a pass over this way. Alan Kerr is stopped just as he got going outside the line. Forced in on the boards by Bob Gould and Duchesne.
The New York Islanders have played 27 games in the playoffs where if they lost, they would be eliminated. And their record in those games is 19 wins and 8 losses.
They've just announced the crowd, a complete sellout, 18,130. And why not? Seventh game, and these 18,130, needless to say, I want to see more Stanley Cup playoff action. They will, if the Capitals can win this one. They're leading 1-0 as Duchesne races after it. Morrow is back. Duchesne shot, and that's off the net on the short side. Islanders get it out across the line to the center ice area. Duchesne went in after it. Up for Morrow to center. Right wing pass. Kerr couldn't knock down. Franciscetti is turning with Duchesne, and Gould shoots it in, and the Capitals want to make changes. They've hit the 8-minute mark of the second period, and it's 1-0. Cleared all the way down to Bob Mason. Now LaFontaine checks his man hard on the boards. Mason covering. Fired off the far side and out. Leiter gives it to Diddick. Diddick's pass is stopped, but here's Leiter again. Up it goes, and here's a chance. Massen's shot is blocked by Mason. After it again. Masson turning into the corner. Hatcher took him in on the boards. It comes out in the slot area, and Adams was there. Three cups in on the play, Palanca. Back to Adams. Adams breaks for the net. Had his stick lifted as he was checked by Bob Basson. Basson had one good chance, but Mason made their good save. Crom tipped it in. Sutter is back of the net. Gartner tried to knock it out and couldn't. A long shot just grazed the post on that short side with Mason being tied up in front by Sutter. Rudy has to stop this long one. They're nearing the halfway mark of the second period. 1-0 Washington. Islanders start to turn it on a little bit now. They're creating some chances in there. Trottier up after, checked by Murphy. Grabbed in the corner. Martin coming out with a long pass down too far for Mike Gartner. Randy Boyd is back there. Gartner gets loose, kicked it to the side of the net. They go back to cover up, and 4 players fall to the ice, and they get a whistle. Tonight's game is coming to you from Landover, Maryland. We talked about 18,130 all around us, and literally they're all around us. Harry and I are right in the middle of the action, and it's just great.
I can't think of a better place to be. There's only one NHL playoff game going, and we're at it.
10 minutes and 15 seconds left in period number 2. 1912 of the first period. Mike Gardner got a goal for Washington. Adams and Stevens were given assists. And that's been the scoring story. And the shots at this point are 22-7 for Washington. They've been all over New York. However, here in the second period, the Islanders start to get something going. Nearly cough it up there, though. Comes back in the slot area and cleared to the line. High stick made contact, and they call the play. The better scoring chances for the Islanders have come, I'd say, Harry, in the last 5 minutes or so. Other than that, it hasn't been too busy a night for Bob Mason.
Not much offense from the Islanders. Here's one of the young Lions from the future for the Islanders. A tough kid who played his hockey in Seattle and scored 35 goals 2 years ago in the American League, but he's had an awful time finding his goal-scoring touch. But pound for pound, he's a tough kid, and he's like a lot of the Islander forwards. If you don't score, you can check, and you can hit, and you can take the rough going.
Lamanca is 20. Adams to his left. Francischetti is on the right wing. You can see Sutter there for New York. Bob Basson, who had one excellent scoring chance for the Islanders at center ice. They're a little impatient. Now finally the linesman drops it in, and Basson tying up his man, steps away from him. Basson coming up for New York. Shoots it in. Sutter has to go in there against Blum. He ran into Blum. The puck bounced in on the boards in the corner. Now it's cleared back to the line. Here's a shot by Boyd. That's handled by Mason. He hasn't been busy, but he's been sharp when he's had to be. That was a pretty good shot from the point.
Boyd's been another nice addition who came up earlier in the year when they had a lot of injuries, and now they can't send him back. He's played so well. And he got a good shot on goal there, and some heavy forechecking by Basson and Henry, who forced the turnover.
Coming up in our second intermission, Pat LaFontaine will be along to talk to Ron, and of course Don Cherry will be along also. And we'll get you up to date on what's happening in the games coming up in the division finals.
LaFontaine has been the Islanders' best forward in the last month of the season and in the playoffs, and really out of a bad situation with Brent Sutter getting hurt. Good things often happen. This young guy got a chance to play a lot more, and he looks like he's going to take the torch from the Bossies and Traches and become one of the great scoring Islanders.
He got that face-off neatly back to the line, but Boyd couldn't get a shot. He was covered too quickly, and they're going to try that little plan again. Face-off to the left of Bob Mason. That was a good, clean winning of the draw by Pat LaFontaine. Back to the blue line where Boyd was waiting.
Well, the Islanders have come to life a little. They stood around most of for the first 8 or 9 minutes of this period. And now in a 1-0 game, a crazy bounce, and she's tied.
And they're set. Kelly Miller for Washington, and he tied up LaFontaine on that draw. And the Caps get it up to center ice. Langway knocked one down. Duchesne rolled it ahead. Gould trying to get loose. He drove it in around a corner. Gould coming in to try to dig it out with Kelly Miller falling. But the Islanders are going to get it out. Miller dumped as he tried to hit Makela. Makela, the stronger and bigger of the two. This is the Stanley Cup playoffs on CBC. At the Capitol Center in Landover, Maryland, I'm Bob Cole with Harry Neal, Ron McLean, and Don Cherry. And And the score is 1-0 with just 9 minutes left in the second period. Capitals in front.
Now Mikko Makela saw that hit coming, and just as he was going to take the hit from Miller, he jumped back at him about a yard. And in that case, the checker was hurt more than the guy that was going to get checked.
And from the face-off, puck fired along the boards. They do not get it out. Finally, it gets down inside the Capitals line. Back there is Christian. Here's Stevens. Rink-wide pass to Franciscetti. Franciscetti just allowed the puck to roll on in behind the net. Christian went in after it. Tried to get it back and did. At the line. New York, 3 of them coming in. Flatley gets set. Flatley shoots. Scores! Flatley faked the pass. He wanted to go to the right side. Then he took another look at Mason and decided to let it go. And we're tied now on that shot by Flatley.
Now this is a tough goal for Washington to take. First of all, it wasn't a good one as far as Mason's concerned. And secondly, the Islanders are right back in it, and they should be well out of it. But if you shoot the puck, sometimes some good things happen. And there it went through Mason's legs. And how disheartening for the Washington team, who over the years, and they've played the Islanders 5 straight years, have had the New York team on the ropes a number of times and could not finish them off.
A normal person wouldn't be back in a hockey game after the hit he took about 10 minutes ago, but he sure is back in it now. He's got his team back in the series. 1-1. 11:35, the time of the goal. Flatley scoring.
Well, if you're a Washington player now, you're saying to each other on the bench, what do we have to do to be rewarded with good play on the scoreboard? This is the 3rd time we've completely dominated the Islanders in this series and can't get any kind of a cushion.
Flatley from Conroy and Trottier. The scoring play, 11:35. Here's Mason. He has not been busy at all. And he finds himself in a 1-1 tie in this pressure cooker.
Now Blum is very upset at Sutter, actually, who tripped Mason as he went by. And Andy Van Hellemond is explaining to Mason that he thought it was an accident and didn't see Blum's little straight arm on Gord Diddick. Van Hellemond is the best referee to have in the National League for a 7th game, Bob. He seems to know how much to let go and yet keep the game under control. Watch 12 Sutter drag his foot and trip Mason. And there's Van Hellemond in the middle of your screen coming over the blue line, and in his opinion, that was accidental. There's been a lot of accidental things tonight, have you not noticed?
Well, I guess you come in with a game plan and let them go as long as they know they can only go so far.
And Van Hellemond has that respect the minute he walks into the rink, let alone comes out on the ice.
LaFontaine winning the draw. Janssen from the blue line gets in a spot to shoot it. Langway stopped that weak shot. Duchesne comes to center, has a chance. He's going in. Goal! Fired it wide. The Islander defenseman Conroy fell on the play, and all of a sudden it was a 3-on-1. And you know, that's the first 3-on-1 or even 2-on-1 we've seen tonight. Duchesne shoots it in. 7.5 minutes remaining in the second period. And we're in a 1-1 tie. Gould stopped it. Moving up quickly, but offside. Ron Finn there. Sharp on the call. Just out over the line.
There's been about 4 of those tonight.
Yeah.
And whenever we see them on the replay, they're all correct. Although a lot of the fans may find that hard to believe when they watch them live here without the aid of a replay. They do have a big clock at center ice that shows the replays. And here's, see it up there in the middle, and they show the replays. And sometimes they prove the referee wrong, but more often than not, those zebras are right. So, on that offside, the faceoff will be
just outside the blue line. 1-1 tie. Second period. Islanders trying to move in. Trottier centered it. And Flatley had it hooked away from him by Smith. Down comes Gardner. Gardner in. Centered it for Christian. Little too far for him. Islanders turning it on a bit more now. Trottier heaves a pass to the side, gets it back. And he was out of position, but up the line, Flatley gave it to him, and now Flatley again. Flatley is knocked down. He was checked by Ridley. Ridley takes it, rolled it in front of the net for Stevens. Stevens coming out. Pass ahead, and the Capitals, Christian just rifled it in. That is Basson turning around with it. Basson gets a pass ahead, and Langway intercepted, but they get it right into the zone. Hatcher bumped by Gilbert, but it's Langway taking over for Washington to Jensen. Jensen through the middle. Yes, Martin on the left, and didn't see him. With Sutter coming back to pick it up. Islanders had tied it here in the second period. Little over 6 minutes remaining in period number 2. That is Leiter back there, and the play is called again.
David Jensen, acquired by Washington from Hartford. Jensen was an American Olympic player in the 1984 Olympics. He has great speed. He hasn't been able to handle the puck at the speed he goes, and if he ever can get those two things going, you're going to hear from this guy in the future. They must think he's pretty good, Bob. They gave him number 9.
Flatley scored at 11:35 from Conroy and Trottier. Gardner got the goal for Washington in the first period from Adams and Stevens at 19:12. That is LaFontaine shooting it in. Makela moving up on Langway. Langway, the veteran, was there in plenty of time. And Hatcher, who's been leading a couple of rushes from defense, he's in there again. Gets a shot away. Somehow rolled it in front of the goaltender. And Rudy steered it aside. Another pretty good rush by Kevin Hatcher. They're offside at the Washington blue line on that rush. 1-1. 5:47 remaining. Second period.